There is a certain kind of exhaustion that does not come from work. It does not come from lack of sleep. It does not come from physical effort. It comes from being the strong one, the reliable one, the steady one, the one everyone leans on. Maybe you did not choose that role consciously. Maybe it just became yours over time. In your family, in your friendships, at work, in your church, in your relationships. Somewhere along the way, people started looking at you as the stable one, the calm one, the responsible one, the one who can handle it. And at first, it may have felt honorable, meaningful, important, to be trusted, to be depended on, to be seen as capable. But what no one sees is what it costs you. Because being the strong one often means you do not get to fall apart. Not publicly, not visibly, not for long. When something goes wrong, others look at you. When tension rises, others wait for your response. When emotions escalate, you regulate the room. You absorb the chaos. You carry the responsibility. You steady everyone else. But who steadies you? When you are the strong one, you rarely feel permission to be fragile. You rarely feel safe to say, I do not know what to do. You rarely feel free to admit, I am overwhelmed. Because if you fall apart, who holds everything together? So you hold it, you carry it, you internalize it, you process it alone. And over time, that internal strength turns into internal pressure. The hidden weight of being the strong one is that you become the container for everyone else's emotions. You listen, you advise, you reassure, you encourage, you show up, you pray for others, you support others, you lift others, but you rarely express your own fear, your own uncertainty, your own confusion, and slowly, something subtle happens. You stop checking in with yourself because your energy is always directed outward. You become excellent at stability, but disconnected from vulnerability. And vulnerability is not weakness, it is humanity. There is a quiet loneliness that comes with being the strong one. You are surrounded by people, but few people ask you how you were really doing. They assume you are fine. They assume you can handle it. They assume you are grounded. And maybe you are. But grounded does not mean unaffected. Strong does not mean untouched. Capable does not mean unburdened. Sometimes the strong one feels the heaviest pressure. Because you are not only carrying your own life, you are carrying the emotional climate of everyone around you. And the more dependable you appear, the less permission you feel to express your own need. You may even feel guilty for feeling tired, guilty for wanting support, guilty for wishing someone else would take over for once, because strength becomes your identity. And if you are not strong, who are you? But strength without rest becomes strain. Strength without honesty becomes isolation. Strength without support becomes silent exhaustion. And silent exhaustion does not show on the outside. It shows at night. It shows in your body. It shows in subtle tension. It shows in overthinking. It shows in quiet anxiety. The hidden weight is not that you are strong. The hidden weight is that you feel you must always be. At some point, strength stopped being a choice. It became a reflex. When tension rises, you step in. When someone struggles, you support. When uncertainty appears, you stabilize. You do it almost automatically. And over time, people stop asking if you are okay. Because you look okay, you sound okay, you function well, you show up, you manage, you endure. But endurance is not the same as peace. There is a difference between coping and being at ease. The strong one often learns early that emotional expression feels risky. Maybe when you were younger, you noticed that being calm brought approval, being responsible brought praise, being composed brought safety. So you learned to regulate yourself quickly, to suppress visible distress, to stay collected. That skill helped you survive. It helped you succeed. It helped you become dependable. But suppression is not the same as processing. When you constantly manage your emotions without fully feeling them, they do not disappear. They accumulate. They sit quietly in the background. They surface at inconvenient times, in moments of stillness, in quiet nights, in subtle anxiety, in unexplained fatigue. The strong one often feels tired without knowing why, because strength has been active all day. You monitor your tone, you monitor your reactions, you monitor the room, you make sure others feel secure. But inside, you may feel something else: pressure, expectation, responsibility, sometimes even resentment, and then guilt for feeling resentment. Because you love the people you support, you care deeply, you want to be reliable. But even love becomes heavy when it is not shared. Faith can complicate this quietly. If you are spiritually mature, people may expect even more steadiness from you, more patience, more wisdom, more emotional control, and you may expect it from yourself. You may feel that being strong is part of being faithful, that being calm is part of trusting God, that not breaking down is part of spiritual maturity. But faith does not remove human limits. It does not cancel nervous systems. It does not erase emotional capacity. Even Jesus withdrew to rest. Even he felt sorrow. Even he asked for support. Strength in Scripture was never the absence of feeling. It was the presence of trust within feeling. The hidden weight of being the strong one is that you rarely allow yourself to be supported. You may offer prayer for others, but hesitate to ask for prayer yourself. You may counsel others, but struggle to open up. You may reassure others that they are not alone, but feel alone in your own burden. There is something deeply human about wanting someone else to be strong for you sometimes. Not to solve your life, not to carry everything, just to hold space, to say, you do not have to be the stable one right now. But when you are known as the strong one, people forget to offer that. Or they assume you do not need it, so you continue. You function. You appear grounded, but inside, something grows quiet. A quiet longing to exhale fully, to not manage, to not regulate, to not be the emotional anchor. The strong one often does not collapse dramatically. They erode quietly. They grow subtly distant. They feel disconnected from their own needs. They forget what it feels like to be held. And over time, strength shifts from being empowering to being isolating. That isolation can create subtle anxiety, because when everything depends on you, everything feels like pressure. You may not panic, but you may feel tension. You may not fall apart, but you may feel constant alertness. You may not break down, but you may never fully relax. The hidden weight is not weakness. It is unshared responsibility. And unshared responsibility slowly exhausts even the strongest person. You were never meant to carry everything alone, even if you were capable, even if you were wise, even if you were spiritually grounded. Capability does not eliminate need. Strength does not eliminate vulnerability. Faith does not eliminate humanity. And pretending it does creates quiet internal strain. The question is not, why am I tired? The deeper question is, where have I not allowed myself to be supported? If you have been the strong one for a long time, it may feel unfamiliar to imagine anything different. Strength became your normal. Responsibility became your rhythm. Holding everything together became your role. But roles can harden into identities, and identities can quietly trap you. You are more than the steady one, more than the dependable one, more than the emotional anchor. You are a human being with limits, and limits are not failures, they are design. There is a subtle fear that comes with letting others see your weight. What if they lose confidence in me? What if I become a burden? What if everything falls apart? But vulnerability does not dismantle strength. It balances it. Real strength is not the absence of need. It is the courage to acknowledge it. If you never allow yourself to be supported, your nervous system remains on alert. Because if everything depends on you, everything feels high stakes. When you are the emotional stabilizer, you cannot fully relax. When you are the responsible one, you cannot fully let go. When you are the strong one, you may struggle to rest deeply. Your body stays slightly prepared, slightly aware, slightly braced. That constant low-level bracing becomes fatigue. It becomes tension in your shoulders. It becomes subtle anxiety. It becomes irritability you cannot explain. It becomes emotional numbness. Because numbness feels safer than collapse. But numbness is not peace. Peace is not rigidity. Peace is flexibility. The ability to hold weight and also set it down. The ability to support others and also be supported. Faith-based emotional intelligence means recognizing that you are not meant to be the sole container for everyone else's stability. Even spiritually, community was never designed as one-way strength. We are meant to bear one another's burdens, not carry them alone. If you are always the bearer and never the one being carried, something becomes unbalanced. So what does change look like? It does not require dramatic collapse. It does not require public breakdown. It begins quietly, with honesty, with noticing where you feel pressure, with asking yourself, where am I overfunctioning? Where am I taking responsibility that is not mine? Where am I afraid to ask for support? The strong one often fears disappointing others. But disappointing unrealistic expectations is not failure, it is health. You may need to practice small vulnerability, not telling everyone everything, but choosing one safe person and saying, I have been carrying more than I let on. That sentence alone can release years of silent strain. You may need to practice receiving help without immediately minimizing it, without saying, I'm fine, without quickly shifting the focus back to them. Receiving feels uncomfortable when you're used to giving, but receiving is part of balance. You may need to practice letting small things go, allowing others to solve their own problems, allowing silence in the room without stepping in to regulate it, allowing discomfort without immediately stabilizing it, because not everything is yours to hold. You are allowed to rest even if others are unsettled. You are allowed to say no even if others are disappointed. You are allowed to not have the answer. You are allowed to not be composed all the time. Even spiritually, strength was never defined as emotional suppression. It was defined as rootedness, and rootedness includes honesty. There is something powerful about a strong person who admits their humanity. It does not weaken your influence, it deepens it, because people trust what feels real. If you have felt the hidden weight of always being the steady one, hear this clearly. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not unfaithful for wanting support. You are not failing for needing rest. You are human. And humans were not designed to function as pillars without pause. Even pillars need foundation. Even foundations need reinforcement. Even the strong need to be held. Maybe your next step is not becoming stronger. Maybe it is becoming softer. Softer with yourself. Softer with your expectations. Softer with your limits. Because the strongest thing you may ever do is admit that you do not have to carry everything. You can still be dependable without being invincible. You can still be grounded without being rigid. You can still be faithful without being emotionally silent. Strength that is shared becomes sustainable. Strength that is isolated becomes heavy. You were never meant to carry the world quietly. You were meant to walk through it with support. If this reflection resonates with you, let this be permission. Permission to exhale. Permission to loosen your grip. Permission to not be the stable one every single moment. You are allowed to be held. You are allowed to be supported. You are allowed to be human. And strength, when balanced with honesty, becomes something beautiful. Not heavy, not isolating, but steady, grounded, and sustainable. You do not have to carry everything alone. Not anymore. If this reflection spoke to something inside you, remember this. You are not alone in what you carry. Many people walk through life quietly holding more than others can see. Pressure, responsibility, expectations. But faith was never meant to make life heavier. Faith was meant to remind you that you do not have to carry everything alone. So take a slow breath. Allow your mind to rest for a moment. And remember that peace does not begin when life becomes perfect. Peace begins when the heart learns to trust. If this message helped you today, subscribe to this channel for more reflections on emotional clarity through faith. And if you feel comfortable, share in the comments what this season of your life has been teaching you. Sometimes the most powerful step toward healing is simply knowing you are not walking alone.